Hello everyone, I'm Nifty. Today I'm gonna go through trying to recreate a shot that I've been wanting to do for a little while now. One from the Matrix 2 or 3. Um, so in this scene you've got Keanu Reeves and Hugo Weaving fighting it out in the middle of a lot of rain. You can see beautiful kind of VFX shot. Now, see, there's a problem with this. Nice. Right. The problem with this is that if we go back a bit, and I'll go back and slow it down a little bit. See here, see where it goes into slow-mo, the kind of shape of these droplets. That's not how water works. See how it's all streaks coming down even though time is apparently being slowed down to a crawl. This is all very nice though, around his fist, and that's what we're going to try and recreate today. This around his fist. But it just bugged me because when you go back to like this, it was done on film, not CGI. You can see streaks, and that's because of the camera's rolling shutter. But then when that's applied into slow-mo, you don't get rolling shutter anymore. Especially here, like when it goes outwards. Like, it's just not how water really works, really, is it? So let's see if we can improve on this at all. First, we're going to need a bit of geometry to act as our fist. I like using Sketchfab. It's a wonderful site full of like art, and they regularly go in for things like Inktober and that kind of thing. It's great for independent artists. But it's also really good for just picking up free or cheap models. So if we oh, it's crashed. Alright, back in now. We're going to search for a fist, make sure it's downloadable. Let's have a look-see down here. There's a few good ones, a lot of irrelevant things. Some nice, that one looks pretty good. Let's have a look at this one. Right, so that's good. Let's look at the geometry. Nice and low poly. Good bit at the back. Could do with it longer, really. See what kind of model that they're giving us. Yeah, VRML, it's not one that I really want to have to convert and what have you right now. So let's keep looking. Yeah, it's sure. Let's go for a bloody Waluigi. Yeah, Waluigi. We will have to cut off his arm, because I'm not going to shove. Yep, FBX. That's perfect. So I'll just download that. I'd say a jump cut is in order. Jump cut. Okay, so you notice I've got my scenes all set up, and then notice that the background is dark. If you press D, you can come up with a bunch of settings. We're going to be using a lot of particles, so a black background, it looks best. So first we're going to need two geometry nodes. Plot one down there. There's one down there. Name this first one Rain, and the second one Collider. Cool. Jump into the Collider node and put in our Waluigi. See, that's far too big. Far too big. So let's pop in a transform node to scale that down a bit. Get it in the right place. Set this to about, what, 0.5 to start with. Does nothing because it's not flagged. There you go. Still too big. That do. Okay, so let's lop off his arm, or more specifically lop off the rest of it. So just select all the points that we want to get rid of. Make sure we're not cutting off too much arm, and just hit delete to blast that away. See, it's still there if we go a node backwards. Shove him down and to the right a little bit. So we've just got a fist floating in space. Nice. Last thing we need to do is put down a null. This is our output null. And we shall rename it Collider Out. Cool. Right. Let's now jump into our rain box. This is where we're going to be spending most of our time today. Plop in a grid. Then need to resize this. I think 10 by 3. Looks about right. But I think I made the Waluigi a bit small. So let's just shove him back up a bit. There we go, that looks more like it. There, perfect. Now, back to our grid. Raise this up. Shove him over there, because we're gonna later on animate this fist so it punches through the rain that we're gonna make. But for now we'll just concentrate on making the rain. And into that we're gonna put a pop net. Right, so what's this giving us? It's giving us a little pop solver and a bunch of things around it. First, we're going to need to put down a gravity force, because everything that pop solver is going to put out is currently just going to float there doing nothing. And then we need to tell it that our fist is going to be there. So first we need a merge node, and then the static object. Make sure to shove these the right way around, because left affects what's on the right of the merge node. So this is your source input node. Shove that up a bit. And what do we need to do with this? We need to set the constant birth rate right down to about 200 for now. We can bump it up later if we need to. Gonna shove this right down just for now, just so it doesn't choke my system, because it's already running a little bit chonky. Yeah, that'll do. No, that'll do. Right. So life expectancy, we need this right down, because currently it's pissing all right down to the bottom of the planet. So limit the life expectancy limits how far it falls. Cool. So next we're going to need a collision behavior node. Shove that in there. I need to set group name of this to hit group. This is all very important and will make sense later. Then we're going to put in a wrangle, pop wrangle. And this we're going to use the expression at bounce equals 1. And that pretty much does what it says on the tin, makes stuff bounce. Then put on a wind just to make things, make the particles look a bit more natural, I guess, so they're not uniform falling downwards, but don't need to change any settings on that, we can leave it alone. Next we need a new pop stream. Set the source group of that to hit group. And then we're going to put in a pop replicate. We're going to need to set the birth rate and the activation both to 0. The impulse count up to 5. 0, 0. And life expectancy, shove that right down as well. 0.25 should about do it. Then we're going to need to put in another wrangle. Oh yes, I've forgotten to... Yeah, I forgot to put in the sock path for our fist, didn't I? Collider out. That's why we put our null there. Cool. So our fist is now in our scene. Wait, it isn't. There we go. Back to start frame it appears. Lovely. Cool. Going back to our pop replicate, shape is by points. And under attributes, we need to add inherited velocity. About a quarter. Radial velocity at 1, and then 0.5 in each direction. That will make the points go pewing out of all directions. So now we need another pop wrangle. Use the same expression here. At bounce equals 1. Oops, that's not an at. There you go. And then we need to put down the pop group. Set this group name to splash. Preserve the group and enable the vex expression. Cool, that's it for that one. That stream of nodes. Shove it into the merge. Comes up with a bunch of warning signs, but we'll figure out why later. I've probably just forgotten one very simple thing. And playing that, we can see, oh look, there are some points colliding on the fist. Nice. Okay, so another new pop stream goes in, source group, hit group. Then a new pop replicate, starting to sense a pattern here. This one, once again, we need to put the birth rate down, activation down, and bump up the impulse count to 1 this time. Life expectancy down to about 0.05. Shape, point, attributes, 0. We'll set our own initials, 0.1 each way. Cool, so another pop wrangle, at bounce equals 0 this time because we don't want it to bounce. And then the pop behavior node. This time we're going to make it a nice green colour. Make this group name run. Spawn. Because these are the points that are going to run down the arm after they've collided. Okay, so we're going to make it so they stick. And we're going to just click that into our merge node again. Play it back. Tidy. Okay. Tidy this up as well. Okay, one more time. Pop stream. Set the source group of this to run spawn. Then a replicate. Birth rate down, activation down, impulse count up, life expectancy down. We've done this all before. This one though we're going to leave as a sphere. But it's not going to inherit any attributes. We're going to put our own in. Put in 0.1 each way. Kill. I need a wrangle again. Same as last time. Bounce equals 0 because we don't want bounce. And then we're going to be putting a pop property, which we set to the cling to 100. That means it will stick to the geometry object quite well. And then a collision behavior node again. Colour these to a nice, shall we go hot pink? Yeah, it's got hot pink. Group name for this will be just run. Preserve this group and make it so it slides to the left. Then we need a pop interact node. Going to set the position force to minus 0.2 and the velocity force to 0.2 and leave everything else as it is. Lastly, we need a pump drag. So we'll put a bit of resistance on it so it doesn't just slip around like something off a shovel. But that we can leave as default and just click it into our merge. Success, sort of. For now, I'm gonna save and I'll see you in a second. Right, that's good enough for now. Going back up to our range geometry node. So we need to make the points that have hit the fist turn into something that looks more like actual border rather than little dots that won't even render. So in order to do that, we need to first isolate the points that we want and then put a material on. We go back here, go ahead, yeah. See all these globular bits that are coming off Mr. Reeves's fist. I'm gonna try and make them. Of course, what we will be doing is nowhere near the same resolution, but so first we need to group. Need to set the base group to splash. This will pick out all of those particles that have been put into this, that have hit the fist, and the particles coming out of it are the splash ones. So we need to delete everything but them. So delete non-selected. Okay, apparently group 1's not valid. What have I done wrong? Set to points, blah blah blah. Delete group 1. Delete group 1. I think it's jump cut time again while I figure this out. Gonna carry on. Need a particle fluid surface. This is what's gonna give you a fluid surface. It's gonna make it look all globular. So I need to set that droplet scale to 1.24 roughly. Influence scale to 1.26, and then we need to put in a material node so it will actually look like something. Just chuck in a basic liquid and give it some semi-translucent, translucent, bluey, shiny material on there. And it's not done anything because I haven't figured out what's wrong yet. Probably something very simple, but we'll figure it out. Okay, shove these over there. We're going to make a new group. Make this delete group 2. Set that to points. Plug it in. Set this base group to run. And we're going to need to delete everything that's not selected in there as well. Came up with an error, but that one's fine. It's not really going to do anything harmful. Put in a fluid surface once again. Do the same little tweaks that we did previous. Put a material on it. And now we need a third and final group. This group is just there to make sure that we haven't literally deleted everything. We've just isolated certain things for a fluid surface. So this is going to be hit group, and that's going to bring back in all the points that were previously deleted. Now we're going to merge all these three together. and drop down a null. Gonna call this rain out. Plug that in, turn it on. Bob's your auntie. Alright, let's figure out some of these warnings. What have I done wrong? Oh, well, I'll mull that over. Let's go and animate the arm, so we get a better representation. Just gonna keyframe the translate. Go about what, 5 seconds? 2, 4, 5, 120. Shove it over there. And that's given us 2 arms, one that moves and one that doesn't. It's another thing that I've forgotten to check somewhere. Here we go. Use deforming geometry even, and object transform. There we go. Blink, blink, blink. We might want to go back and up the points. Edit attributes, maybe? Yes, edit attributes. Aha, there we go. We can see red little splashes now. Whoopee. There we are. Entity points, all works now. That's sort of. It looks very janky, but it works. Cool. Now everything actually works, we can do a little bit of tweaking. Okay, jump cut over. This is what I've tweaked it to so far. I can go on for hours just making little adjustments and gradually making it less and less janky. But really the main things that we'd want to do now is get some lights in there, a material on the fist itself, and put a render pass through and see what happens. But we're kind of running out of time for that now. I'll just show you what tweaks I have made. This droplet scale here. Pretty much does what it says. Bump up life expectancy of that just so they don't disappear immediately. Looks a little bit better now. We'll see how it looks in cloblet mode. Yeah, it's still looking a bit but hey, all the tools are there and it should all work no matter what you do with it. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.